The next topic I'm speaking about is banking and whether I have advice for the best banks for young people to use. Um, I have a bias against big banks. I think the big banks have um, basically a monopoly on our financial sector, and I prefer using community banks. Um, I do my banking with a community bank. Um, I think you get better service with a community bank. I think there's more attention to your individual needs from a community bank, and there's just a greater personal touch. Um, I think community banks are more honest with their customers because there's a certain trust between the community bank and the community. Um, and therefore, I think there's, and I could be wrong on this, but I think just in my personal experience that community banks are much more upfront with their customers than the big banks are. I think that hidden fees and ATM fees and overdraft fees and all of the hidden costs of banking are much greater when you bank with a big bank than with the community bank. Um, I think um, with a community bank, you're better off um, in terms of free checking and ATM fees. Um, but every bank is different, and therefore I would encourage um, young people who are first getting into banking to explore their options and to go to various banks to check out what their interest rates are, what their fees are, whether you have to maintain a certain balance in your account, or if you go below that balance, you'll be charged for it. All of these things differ from bank to bank. So I think it's wise to shop around and find out what the best options are for you before making a decision. But like I said, I think it's best to avoid the bigger banks like Citibank, Chase, etc. Um, simply because they just don't have that personal touch. There are a lot of hidden fees. Um, there are a lot of expenses that go along with using bigger banks. And from a social justice point of view, if you're progressive like I am, you want to support your community banks and not contribute to the legitimization of the monopoly that the big banks have on